May 28th through June 4th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you're interested in attending the event, registration is now open until May 3rd. Go to GamesDoneQuick.com for more info. And of course, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits shared on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick Hotfix. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the daily speedrunning content. And with that being said, Saku, how are you doing? It's wonderful to see you.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking.
So for folks I'm really excited. For folks unfamiliar, there's a little bit of lore here. So Saku was my host for my AGDQ 2023 run when I did the Mario Shuffler. She did a fantastic job for it, and would you know it, Saku is very much so a gamer. I have watched Saku do Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for quite a while, and just very much a seasoned runner of this game and randomizer. Before we're underway, Saku, what are some of the settings that we can expect today?
Well, we are doing pot shuffle today, so it's world state is open, which means we don't do the intro sequence, we don't go through the castle to start. We have to defeat Ganon, but it's a setting called Fast Ganon, so that means we don't have to defeat Ganon's tower, Ganon's castle. We may not even see it, depending upon what items are where. And also we need 7 crystals to defeat Ganon. And pot shuffle, which means items will be underneath pots. They could be in chests. Anything that is under pots has been shuffled into the grand item pool. So that's over 1,000 checks in the game. And yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I'm excited as well. So on your count, Saku, we can get started and we'll kind of talk about what we see along the way.
Cool, awesome. Also, we're starting with boots today because we have a lot of checks to do, so we want to make sure we try to get it done within the time. All right, so 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck and have fun, Saku. I'm looking forward to this. I don't think I've ever seen a pot shuffle on Link to the Past randomizer. I've done them on Ocarina of Time, but not so much on Link to the Past.
Yep, we got 1,018 checks in the game to do, so...
Yeah, Saku said there's over 1,000 checks, and Saku's taken some of those checks out. I think it was originally 1,091, and I think it got
reduced.
sorted... Yeah, reduced big time, yeah. And even though it's only about 90-something, or around 90 checks that have been reduced, like, that's still better, right? Because think about 1,000 checks. Even, like, almost 1,100 checks is so much more than 1,000. So there is that.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is that the checks that I removed were checks that were farther away. A lot of even though 1,000 checks is quite daunting, a lot of those checks are kind of on the way. They're stuff you would already see. So one of the first things, if you're used to like normal, regular rando, we have here, which had 2 hearts in there. You can see our counter up at the top went to 4 just from picking up those pots. So what I'm doing here is there's an item here that is on the ledge. Looks like it's $5, which means, thankfully, might not need to defeat Aga this seed. Now, one of the ways for Dark World access is defeating a boss called Aghanim, who's up in Aghanim's tower, conveniently named. And inside there is quite a few checks. So even though we may not need to defeat Aghanim, we may have to actually go in there and, still pick up the items, because you never know. But yeah, we're picking up a lot of stuff along the way that we normally wouldn't, like the small magic. We don't, one of the important things to remember about pot shuffle is that you're not guaranteed items you would normally find under pots. So in dungeons, when you go in there, you can always like, oh, you know, I'll find a big magic under this pot, or I'll find whatever. So in Pot Shuffle, because you're not necessarily guaranteed that stuff, you kind of have to check a little bit more than you normally would. So we are looking for bombs right now. We do have 4, but we're gonna need more because we don't have a weapon. So hopefully we find some in some of these checks. Wow, we're just getting, oh, here we go. More bombs.
Oh, there we
Good.
go. That's what you wanted. You want some bombs?
Bombs are a weapon of some variety. Sword would also be even better, but yeah. The reason why we're picking up, you can leave the items without picking them up if you want, but personally I like to pick them up because like I said, I never know when I'm actually going to get something, so I want to make sure that if my first weapon is, let's say, the fire rod or something, then I want to make sure that I have the ability to actually use it, because I'm gonna need to kill some enemies pretty quickly in order to get some items. And yeah.
Chat mentioned something about possibly bush shuffling being a thing. How do you feel about adding bushes on top of pots here?
Honestly, I don't. I'm always for the thing is, or my opinion is always, the more options you add, the better. But I don't see many people using it. So we just did a little fun glitch there. We put the chicken in the wall and sent it over to Castlevania, so those players can get wall chicken. That's the meme. But yeah, we picking up pots, picking up other things. We got a few checks that I still have to do. This village is very, like, there's a lot of checks in it. Thankfully, we're still getting bombs because we still don't have an item.
I'll thank you the next time I'm playing the Castlevania Shuffler and I get wall chicken. I'll be like, hey, Saku put this here. Sweet.
Oops, I haven't killed anything since the last time I did a pull. But I'm pretty excited for my first item whenever we, get one that isn't the bottle. Right now, our only option to defeat anything is I think it's 1B and a couple bombs, so I still don't have enough money. There's a bottle vendor up there that I have to come back to at some point. Don't have enough money for them, which is again another thing is normally you would farm rupees in the Blind's hut up at the top. And because we are in Pot Shuffle, we're not guaranteed any of that. So we're still looking for rupees. So looks like our only rupee drop we have right now is in that house. So we will come back later if we need. So we got this place still. And speaking of bottle, I don't believe oh, hey, here we go. We got some money, so we can check this before we leave. I tend to like to clear out this area first because I don't want to have to come back until I am, needing to go to Dark World or something. But, alright, we have all the stuff from Sick Kid's house, and we have one more check in town before we can finally leave and start our epic quest. And just a little bit of, just a small heart piece. Whoop, there we go. So we have a check on the lumberjack here, or on the library here that we're going to see. Probably nothing. Nope. $5. Not gonna go out of my way for $5. One of the cool things about these walls there, if they're cracked in a specific way, they're normally both able to be bombed and bonkable in order to open them. So I tend to, when I start with boots, tend to make sure that I am opening them with boots, because right now bombs are a very valuable resource and not guaranteed. So save and quit, and we are going to do another glitch here, which is we're going to go to the Houlihan room, the Chris Houlihan room. It is a place where basically what you're trying to do, or what I'm going to try to do, is I'm going to try to misalign the camera so that the game places me in a room that it normally saves for, like a place that you, if it doesn't know exactly where to put you, it's the fail-safe room. So I'm misaligning my camera by jumping into the river here, and then coming over here and opening this bush and entering from the top, and it should throw me in a room with a whole lot of rupees. So we're gonna need 500 in order to access the item from King Zora, and conveniently, the reason why we do that now is we don't have flippers. It only works when you don't have flippers, and it throws us out immediately at Link's house. So it's exactly where we want to be. So good news is we have bombs that we can obtain at Link's house. There is a 4-drop there, which is pretty nice. And we're going to go up here, check our uncle. There's 4 items up here. And yeah, if you're familiar with the regular rando, the standard or open settings, a lot of the places that we're going to be going are going to look familiar. There's a few that, like I said, there's a few pots along the way that you're going to see us go a little out of the way for, but a lot of the places that you would find pots are actually places you would normally go in the game. So I was hoping to get a pretty good item before we went down to the mini Moldorm cave, because we do have to defeat oops, sorry, wrong place. We do have to defeat enemies down there, and we don't have we currently don't have a weapon that we can use reliably without ammo. So hopefully we find something before we go over to Mini Moldorm Cave. There's 5 items inside of Mini Moldorm Cave, so cross our fingers that there's 2 items here we can possibly get beforehand, and then one at there's Agina's cave, not to be confused with Aghanim's cave. Agina is one of the brothers, is a brother of Sahashala, which is another NPC in the game that we can get an item from at some point. So there's one here, still a heart piece. All right, one more check before, one more check before we go to Mini Moldorm Cave. I'm really hoping for something good. Even honestly, what would be really nice right now is a glove. We do have another check in this area that is pretty nice if you happen to have the power glove, because of how many pots it has. But okay, come on, sword, please. Hook shot would also be really nice, but just a replacement bomb to replace the one we just used. So back to looking for literally anything. Okay.
So do you find in these settings that once you find like the first item, it kind of spirals from there? I feel like finding the first item is like the really tough part of this, and then it gets a little bit better with each progressive item.
Honestly, normally by now I've got at least one item. It is very impressive that we haven't found a single weapon of any variety. Considering, like, we've already done 69 checks in the game and we haven't found any items.
You don't have to worry about that. My show's just cursed, so no worries.
Conveniently only used exactly as many bombs as we needed. And immediately got them replaced. So we have rupees, and more rupees. Still not what we're looking for. So we have one more check over here, which we'll go to. Normally nicer to go to when you have flute, but at the moment we don't really have anything. So I'm kind of hoping for at least something, so when I go into Eastern, it's not going to be too bad. But we'll probably have to make a double dip into Eastern at some point, because we definitely don't have the ability to go through dark rooms with our current item set. And in Pot Shuffle, the pots in the dark rooms are a lot more difficult to get. So we're gonna try, but they're not in logic. They're not something that you would normally do. Also, I like to avoid Hyrule Castle for as long as I possibly can, but that's another place where items can be right now. Hyrule Castle is not something that I need to do in order to complete the seed, unless there's, an item in there. So I tend to avoid places that I know aren't necessary. And Hyrule Castle tends to be one of them. So, yo! Finally, we have something.
Hey, let's go.
We have a sword. And full magic, not half magic, the other thing, small magic. And still, okay, so we have something that we can do, which is convenient. We're going to check our map, and I have a tracker on my side, which I'm using. So I'm just marking down those crystals in order to make sure that that I know which dungeons I need to complete later. But Eastern is in fact a crystal dungeon, which means that we will need to defeat it before the end of the game. And I also just did a glitch there. It's called spin speed. It is where you will spin your sword, release the sword button, and then press the dash button within 1 frame of letting go of the sword spin button. It is in order to arm super speed, which you will do which you will activate by then walking up or down a climbable ladder. You have to make sure that when you release the sword spin on a ladder that you are holding either up or down, because if you don't, you'll grab the wall instead, and it will not work correctly. So we did it. There's another way to do it called hook dash, which I am terrible at. But in spin speed, normally fairly reliable. Wow, we are just getting bombs galore, which means we're gonna have some very interesting problems later when I need bombs. Oh,
we got a question from the chat, by the way. How do keys work in Pot Shuffle?
So I specifically for this run, we have our standard key settings. So keys are shuffled in dungeons. Same with dungeon items. maps, compasses, things like that, big keys. They're all shuffled within their dungeons. There is an option in the rando in order to shuffle all of the keys together in like the giant pool. But in our situation, we are only, we've only shuffled them into their dungeons. So they can be in any check inside the dungeon. You can see how many checks each dungeon has by the counter that is underneath my bombs and underneath my rupees. That is how many are in this dungeon. So, in the room that had the skeletons, we also did I don't necessarily know that it's a glitch per se, but we manipulated the spawns of the enemies. Wow, we are finally getting items here. We manipulated the spawns of the enemies in that room by walking to the north part of the room, and there's a U shape in the middle of the room where if you walk in on those lines, it will trigger the spawns of 4 skeletons, 1 in each cardinal direction of you. And sorry, I just need to concentrate for half a second. There's our small key. All right, that's everything in that room. Sorry. We had to get those particular enemies to spawn in a specific spot in order to have the skeleton spawn inside of the doorway above me. So if the skeleton spawn in each cardinal directions, what I was trying to do was manipulate it so that the skeletons spawn in the doorway above me as well as on the pot below me. That way I would have less enemies that I could deal with. So we just did all of the dark part that we can do for Eastern. I'm not going into the back without the lamp. So we're instead we're gonna go to Desert Palace and a few other things that we can do along the way. But
I have a question for you. Are any of those checks that you just did in the darkened room, are those technically out of logic without
they are out of logic, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We normally a lot of people will say something along the lines of like this item is out of logic, and what that means is in the randomizer there is normally a set of instructions basically that the programmers make for the randomizer that will tell the game where it's allowed to place an item. And those set of instructions basically are what we consider the logic. So it'll never ask you to do something like dark rooms without the lamp in pot shuffle specifically. In the regular rando, it can if you have advanced settings or other options, but in pot shuffle you'll never be required to do dark rooms because the pots are a little more challenging to see. So yeah, that was all out of logic, which means yes, it's not something that the game required me to do. In order to do it, I just did it because if there was an item there, it could be beneficial for me to know. Sometimes if you find an item in the dark, then it'll help lead you to where the lamp is. Like if I found the flippers in there, I would know that I wouldn't be able to find the lamp in Ice Palace, I wouldn't be able to find the lamp in Swamp Palace and a few other things like that because of the set of rules that it gave. So, yeah. Hopefully that is helpful. Information. So we're gonna go into Desert Palace. This is a green pendant. We aren't able to complete it because we're missing a lamp. So it is also not necessary in order to beat the game, but it could potentially have an item in it, and I am missing the pot. There we go. Nice heart container. We did get a few items inside of Eastern Palace. We got our gloves, which are going to be needed for Dark World access. We also got the Master Sword, which is going to be needed for Aga Tower. And I suspect we'll probably find the lamp fairly soon because Aga Tower is normally fairly necessary in Pot Shuffle just because of how many pots are in Aga Tower, and we are being chased by everybody in this building here. And by how easy it is to access. So we're looking for a small key. We also have hints turned on, so half magic can be found in a pot in Swamp Palace. We may or may not pick that up. We'll see. Actually, we're gonna go in here first because there's a lot of pots. So you can see there's 56 checks in this dungeon. A lot of them are in this room. There's also a few rooms that are pretty valuable in the back part of the dungeon, but at the moment they're not something we're going to be checking because we're going to try to clear the front part as quickly as possible before going into the back part. There's our Moon Pearl. Very valuable item.
I was just thinking about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, please not a late Moon Pearl for Saku.
Yep. Yeah. we got ourselves a Moon Pearl, which means we do now have officially Dark World access. So in order to complete the game, I mentioned earlier that we are going to be needing to defeat 7 dungeons at minimum. And there is an awful lot of those in the Dark World. So hopefully, I always hope for early Moon Pearl so I don't have to kill Aga in order to get it. We have our hammer, which means we won't need anything from Pyramid Fairy that would make us defeat Aga. So yeah, we're basically at this point. The only reason we need to do Aga potentially is that there may be items in there. So that is something to keep in mind. That's one dungeon potentially off the list that we don't need to do. So we're at 35 of 56 checks in here. Oops. And there's a few checks in the back that we're also going to try to do. Again, we can't defeat the final boss because we don't have the lamp or fire rod in order to light the torches before the boss. So we're going to go in here. Yikes! Beamos's bully. So normally you'd be able to do a key dash here, but we're gonna mess up the way that the key dash works because we have to lift up all these pots. So we're still looking for a small key, we're still looking for a big key. And there's a few more pots in this room here.
So for folks possibly watching on YouTube as well too, please be sure to give Saku a follow if you haven't done so already. That is twitch.tv Sakura Tsubasa. That is SAKURA TSUBASA. And folks in chat too, please be sure to give Saku a follow. Always a great time. So I'm sorry, what were you saying, Saku?
No, I'm at the end of the dungeon here. You'll notice that I got the big key right before the final boss here of this dungeon. We're at 53 of 56 checks, which means the last checks we have are the boss, the big chest, and the boss, the big chest, and the torch that we skipped, which means we've completed pretty much everything in that dungeon we need for now.
Another question here from the chat. How do you keep track of all of the pots? You know, they respawn when you leave or enter a room. Is it pure memorization at this point?
Yes. There's also, for overworld pots and stuff, there is item trackers available that will help you. On Emo Tracker, there is one that will help you keep track of the pots in overworld checks and in houses and stuff, but in dungeons it's all memorization. You have to memorize it because there's not a tracker currently available that helps you track the specific locations in those dungeons. All right, so we're in the dark world now. Now we are going to mark down the remaining crystals that we need. Looks like we don't need to complete Ice Palace. We don't need to complete Skullwoods. And we have to complete everything else. So you'll notice that some of those crystals and pendants and whatever are different colors than normal. The green pendant has a little star next to it. The 5 and 6 crystals, those are red. Those are because those crystals and pendants, they unlock specific checks within the game, whereas the other ones don't. And nice. One of our first things that we try to do when we go into the dark world is immediately dive into Skullwoods. I know it's a pendant, but you'll notice that the amount of checks in this dungeon, there are 90 of them. 69 of them you can obtain via the front of the dungeon without any kind of fire rod or anything. So there are a lot of checks really quickly that you can get without any kind of item necessarily, except for Dark World access. So we come in here and immediately try to clear the front. Got this guy who's just not letting us be. We have another heart container there, which is nice. We have our compass. It's one dungeon item. What I would like to see is the big key. You'll notice that the pot kind of disappeared from my hands, and that's because there's a sprite limitation within this game. So if there's too many sprites on the screen, then it will cause the pot to disappear rather than the item under the pot. It's just a safety precaution to make sure that in the rando you're not losing items. If they can avoid it, they'll make the pot disappear rather than the item under the pot. We have one heart. Hopefully we don't die. Now we have 2 hearts, but everything in here does like 2 hearts of damage, so 1 heart versus 2 hearts, not much of a difference. Getting small keys. There's lots of small keys in here. I don't have, yeah. Got another heart. Still doesn't increase our survivability, but you'll notice we have now 222 checks. We've been going for I don't know how long, but we've already got a fairly decent number of checks from this game. I know that the number seems daunting, but actually we're gonna go in here first, even though we don't have the big key. I know the number seems daunting, but you'll notice that a lot of the checks are along the way anyways, and you just we'll tend to often pick up a lot of these for ammo anyways, so why not just add them? Alright, so we're gonna pick up these pots. Sometimes I get super lucky, like now, but not in that not for that particular reason. But sometimes we get super lucky and we get the big key in the front here. But we also got a sword, which is actually really nice. Tempered sword makes the final boss fight and a lot of the other boss fights in the game really easy. We'll just grab a berry there, and we're gonna go back into the back here. So we don't have any easy way to defeat these guys, so we'll just kind of leave them alone for now. Then get while our good friend the floor master or wall master. I actually don't know if it's a floor master or a wall. I've been told like 50 times what it is, and I just can never remember. So in here there is three more checks, sorry. That guy. There's a pot in this wall here. Normally it has a full magic refill, so if you're ever in Skull Woods and you're like, oh man, I don't have enough magic, normally that's what's in there. So convenient. We'll get grabbed hopefully by the hand in order to leave fast, because I don't want to have to go through that whole room. Grab this. Normally get a small key under this pot, but today it's small magic. So we're gonna go into another room that you commonly do not see in the rando, and I'm gonna get hit by 15 things along the way because I can. And yeah, this room over here is, I think they call it the X room because it's got items in it that are shaped like an X. So, very aptly named. There is normally this room you don't see. So, you got Quake, which could potentially be a location, or sorry, a medallion that we may need in the future. So we don't know yet what medallions we need for Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. That could be one of them. I want to make sure that I get that guy to drop first before I fall, because... Okay. Because in this version of the game, you can actually be grabbed by that guy while he's falling, which is a little mean, honestly. So we have the big key, which means we can check the last check in the game. I should actually take a death here, because I don't want to take a death in the overworld. It will really set me back if I do. So what I'd rather do is I'd rather take a death right at the beginning here so that I can leave immediately, have a lot more health, and, you know, not die in the overworld. So intentional death there for optimization. So we have all 69 of the checks that we could do in that dungeon complete. And so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to Thieves Town, which has a pot in it that I always forget. So we're gonna remember not to forget the pot.
I got that on my list to remind you just in case as well. I promised you I would, and I have it on here.
I appreciate that. Do not forget. Do not forget the pot. Let's, we're gonna check a couple things before we go in there, because, yeah, we're still looking for items. There's still a lot that we need. In order to complete the game at the moment, we need at minimum 1 medallion. I don't know if we have the correct one or not, but both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock need a medallion. They can be the same medallion, so we can get super lucky and only need 1. but we don't know yet. We won't know until we get the flute and Titan's mitts. So we're still looking for flute. We're still looking for Titan's mitts. We're looking for the fire rod, the ice rod, preferably the lamp, because dark room pots are kind of annoying. Hook shot for Swamp Palace. And yeah, there's flippers. We need a whole lot of stuff. We did not get lucky at the beginning of this seed. Well, we got lucky now because we just got the fire rod, which is one of the stuff that we need. I don't think there's one down here, but I always want to check every time because I don't want to miss one. All right, got that. This one. Whoa. Sneaky. So again, 54 checks in this dungeon. A lot of them, like I said, are along the way anyways, so grabbing them isn't too bad. You kind of, if you play this enough, you get a route that you do, and it'll help you keep track of where each of the pots are, so you're not missing any. But again, here's one of those special bonkable walls. There's one down here. Whoops. And then there's a secret room right here. And we're gonna go into that has 2 pots. Perfect. All right, so again, we're in here. There is, oh, hello. We're getting bunny beamed, so we're gonna get out of that. We're gonna get bunny beamed again. There's a couple checks over here that we're gonna grab before going into the bottom area. So we're looking right now for a small key. A lot of the times when you're playing this game, the regular rando, you'll notice that a lot of players will be looking for a big key in the front, but we are actually looking for both a big key and a small key because we need one to open a door. So there's our small key. Normally you'd get that underneath the pot that's right before blind. I may die here. There is a invisible guy, or not invisible. There's a guy hanging around under the stairs there. There's our big key. Was hoping that it would drop a heart. Unfortunately, not. So there is another check here. This wouldn't be too bad if we died now, because actually I may do that intentionally just so that we can go to the boss with full health rather than 1, because we're not guaranteed to get health on the way to the boss, and I'd rather not run all the way there and then have to run all the way back. So we have our second intentional death. But yeah, you also, like I said, you have to be very careful of your inventory management, your inventory and ammo management, because both of those things are not guaranteed to, be what you expect them to. Anything under pots is not necessarily what you expect them to be, so you have to be cautious of what you're grabbing here. This guy at the bottom is just does not want to leave. So we have our second small key. We need 3 of them in this dungeon. Keep that out of the way. So I'm gonna pick up this. We're gonna go up here instead. We're not going to hit that switch because there are 3 pots right here we can't get if we hit the switch. Plus, there's a hint tile here that'll tell us absolutely nothing of value. So, we have hints enabled. I find them useful not very often, but sometimes they can tell you, you know, a specific item is the only item you'll find in this specific section of the world, which is normally a pretty huge hint in Pot Shuffle because of how many pots there are in the overworld. It can save you a lot of time. So we got the hookshot there, which is one of the items that we need in order to beat Swamp Palace. We still don't even have access to the dungeon, but it is nice for later. It's also sometimes logically necessary for Ice Palace. We know a few tricks that will help us get through that dungeon. Without the hookshot, but you know, preferably, of course, the less time the less things that we have to do with like bomb jumps and other things, the better. That way we save ourselves some health, which again is not guaranteed to be obtained via pots. So you'll notice there's a pot in the top right corner that I skipped there. The reason is because pots that have switches under them will never be shuffled. So because that has a switch to open the door, I will never need to open that until, you know, I need to open the door. So one of the other things about pot shovels is it's not just pot shovels. These big rocks, those are also pots in this. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know if that was because they were programmed originally like that or if the developers decided to add them as checks. Yeah. We have to keep in mind that any big tiles like that are also pots. So we're gonna stay here for a sec to get rid of that bunny beam. We have the small key, which means we can check the big chest that's well over to our left here. And we did not forget any pots in the front, by the way. So there's 2 checks left in the game. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, where is the last check? Well, it's this big rock right here. And then the boss. So, this will be our first crystal. Once we defeat the maiden here, who is actually blind in disguise, who makes puns. Retrievers love fetch quests. So blind is a really interesting boss. If you happen to do everything the same, it's a scripted fight. So if you happen to do everything the same each time, it will always be the same fight. I unfortunately messed up the script, and thus blind went a little ham at the end there.
Saku, chat doesn't have to know that, though. I'm going to say that was brilliantly done. There were no mistakes there.
Well, thank you.
That was good, though. Good fight overall, Saku.
You'll also notice that underneath a few of the pots, there are yellow, what I call bunny beams. They will turn your character into a bunny if you are hit by them, and those are not shuffled. They will always be under those same pots, but items can still be placed under those same pots. Those bunny beams can actually be powdered by an item in the game called powder, conveniently. And they will turn into actual fairies. So this game is actually pretty nice to farm rupees from sometimes, but we don't need any more because we have more than enough in the game to basically buy anything that we want. So not really super interested in that. We're going to be looking for a few more items as we head over to pod, which is our next place where we need to go. So we're still missing the lamp, which means that a lot of pod is out of logic again. But there's a few things we can check along the way. We're gonna go over to Hype Cave first. It normally in Pot Shuffle is not very hype. So you can expect there to probably be either recovery hearts, magic bombs, or arrows in here. It's more like ammo refill cave in this version. Just because of how many... if you think about it, the game originally has 216 checks from chests, NPCs, and other things like that. So we've added over 800 junk items, basically, to the pool. Which, yes, unfortunately, the only thing we got was a heart piece. So you'll see a lot of junk, but, you know, it's not too bad. We, can go through here. Now, oops, bonk into that. We're gonna item dash through here to get rid of those relatively quickly. I'm actually gonna check, and before we do that, I'm actually going to check the pyramid, just in case like lamp happens to be on the pyramid. I suspect it's probably in Hyrule Castle or somewhere else. Whoa. Oh my god. Accidentally messed that up and almost ran into that guy. Alright, well, just a heart piece. I almost said a heart piece, but no, that's just a recovery heart. Which we conveniently lost immediately. So let's go over to Pod. Pod is actually called Palace of Darkness. I just abbreviate it because that's what it's known as in the community, and nobody wants to constantly be saying Palace of Darkness. I'm almost dead, so instead of being hit by a tentacle monster and dying along the way and having to walk all the way back, I'm going to actually just heal. Save myself some time because I don't want to die. Alright, there is another check that you normally wouldn't see in the regular rando, and that is over here. There are a couple pots behind this guy. He's got 4. Which again, nothing really useful. So because we got the fire rod, we can check more than we normally would be able to in dark rooms. But again, remember what I said earlier, dark rooms are not considered in logic, so you don't have to worry about that at the moment. So we're gonna take our good buddy Kiki over to Pod, and Kiki will be paid 110 bucks to open the door. I mean, it's 10 bucks to follow you to the door and then 100 bucks to open it. So once we get Kiki to open the door, we can go in here and start looking for items. So again, we're gonna skip the pot in the top left of this area because it is a switch, so we don't need it necessarily. There's a small key, which is nice. We don't have the mirror, so we can't mirror back to the beginning, which means we have to walk all the way there. Hit that, come back down here. Oops. Grab these. We got a mushroom. That will be useful for a glitch later as well. If we can find the Cane of Samaria before we... Never mind, we will not be using it because we actually found powder. The mushroom can be used for a glitch called fake powder. But because we found real powder, we don't need to do it. So we'll check to see... Big chest in Thieves Town contains a magic refill. That's very convenient. Unfortunately, we've already got it. So pod is a little bit odd to route. It requires like multiple different pass-throughs in order to obtain everything from here, just because of where these items are. We will dodge all the spikes very skillfully, all according to plan. And we're gonna grab these pots. We have the hammer. You'll notice that there's also a crack on the other side of the wall. There's a fairy room there if you ever need fairies. We don't right now, so not going to grab it. We're gonna hit that button because we're gonna need to go through it. Somehow hit that 3 times. We've got a shovel that unlocks 1 more location. So luckily we have ourselves the tempered sword, the 3rd sword upgrade, which is nice because these guys can be pains in the butts in order to hit. So we're going to bonk here, and then immediately walk off the edge. We're gonna bonk here, which is gonna allow us access to this area so that we don't have to walk all the way back around. And there is more checks down here. More pots. So we're at 29 out of 53 checks in this entire dungeon. Well, 357 out of 1,000 checks in total. That number of checks in the top right corner is all of the checks in the game, including, you know, boss drops and items from chests and everything else all. So it's not just pots, it's pretty much everything. And I believe we checked these earlier, but I just want to double check because sometimes I forget to grab them. So again, we don't have the lamp. So there's a few checks in the back here that are out of logic, but we know dark rooms, so we are going to do them anyways. We are also half dead, so hopefully that doesn't cause us too much problems in that one room because we don't have armor. We only have green mail, which is not amazing. So let's grab this. And depending upon what your key amount is, you'll pretty much always want to check the room below. You'll always want to check the room below, which we call Harmless Hellway up there. The reason is because that room has 2 pots and a chest. So how did I end up over there? Anti-fairy is a bully. Okay, so there is probably a small key in here. Because we should... Oh, wait. No, there could be one in an... yeah, there could be one in another place. I always forget that there can be small keys over there. So I'll never find a small key in this room here because there's only one way to access it, and that requires a small key. And there's more than one check in this room. Thus, the logic will never require you to, or the logic will never allow you to lock, there it is. The logic will never lock chests behind keys that you can't obtain. Unless you set the randomizer to be what's known as beatable only, which means it gives you only the bare necessary items in order to complete the game. So we're just going through some dark rooms casually, picking up items. This is a maze, so there's rails everywhere that are kind of guiding you to where you have to go. Well, I say guiding you, but also not, because you will probably get lost in here if you're unfamiliar. Of course, we get a heart container, so we can't really death warp nicely. So we're gonna try to get through here nicely without getting bopped by anything. There we go. So we're gonna go reverse through the maze, which is kind of more difficult for me because more often than not when you're coming in here, you have the mirror and you can just leave. I went the wrong way. There we go. Oh, bam. Done. Oh.
That was really good.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the seed so far, Saku? Like, what are your feelings right now about this?
I feel like I'm being bullied by the game, honestly. But honestly, I feel like that all the time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go down here. We can do the stuff in the bottom. It's gonna be a little hard again because we don't have a lamp. So we're just gonna do it by memory and hope that the turtles behave. Unlikely, but yeah, right now we haven't found a lot of stuff. We're still missing the ice rod. We're still missing the lamp. We're still missing the flute. We're still missing Titan's mitts. We're still missing flippers. The mirror and the cane of Samaria are all required to beat this seed. There might have been something I missed, but I'm going off memory. So the dark rooms I've memorized. I actually made guides for them because they're pretty important. So flippers, actually that's convenient because I mentioned earlier in the game that if we happen to find flippers in a dark room, that means that that's the wrong thing. If we happen to find flippers in a dark room, that where are you? I know you're here somewhere. There you are. Somewhere there it is. If we happen to find flippers in a dark room, that means that the lamp can't be in Ice Palace or Swamp Palace. So we have ourselves the fire rod, which will help us nicely with these guys because the thing there is lit up. There's also one rock here. Oh, not here. Actually, no rocks here. We just have the boss to do. So we're just gonna walk through all the enemies because it's easier than trying to fight them in the dark. You may end up taking more damage if you do that incorrectly. So we need to hit this boss 17 times in the face with a hammer. You can also use bombs, but hammer is, of course, the faster way because Helmasaur moves out of the way. We're going to try to hit him while those fireballs are out because if you do, you can actually despawn the fireballs, which will help you save time. Boss is dead because we have Tempered Sword. And we have 53 out of 53 checks in this dungeon. So it's done. So we have a few places we can check that we don't have in logic, which is perfectly fine because, like I said before, while we have the fire rod, we can light some torches, makes dark rooms a little bit easier, but I really don't see it. I'm pretty sure that lamp has got to be in Hyrule Castle at this point, because there isn't much else that we can do that wouldn't be in Hyrule Castle. It's either that or Desert Palace. So based on what we found, it's pretty likely if we need the lamp, we can just go to Hyrule Castle. So we're gonna go up here. Hopefully, if we get super lucky, we can find the mirror at Catfish, because there's a whole lot of checks over here that will allow us to check the locations in the same area in the light world if we happen to find the mirror. So ideally, that's what we're looking for from here, for convenience sake, but not necessary. We have a lot of things that we can check now. So we're gonna throw a rock in here. We're gonna check Catfish, hopefully, like I said, mirror. Okay. Nope, no mirror. So we're going to instead go back into the light world. All right, so instead we're gonna go this way. Normally we'd enter the lake from the south side of Hyrule when we're doing our checks for Mini Moldarm Cave and other things, but in this case we had to do it way later because we didn't have the Moon Pearl or the flippers. Moon Pearl would allow us to do a glitch that we can do for a couple items right before Zora, but because I didn't have it, I didn't really feel it was necessary to go into the water. So just a recovery heart on the ledge, nothing important. We got $5 from our friend under the bridge. And I think we might have to go into Hyrule Castle because we are still looking for items, and unless we find something big, we're gonna have to go into my least favorite dungeon. So there's 4 checks up here, 2 in this waterfall, and then 1 at Zora, and then 1 on the ledge. And while we're here, we're just gonna see what our bottle refill is. Hopefully blue potion? Nope, just red potion refill. Convenient. I did see your question about the lamp. Sorry, I didn't see it before, but yeah, the lamp in the game lights up the dark rooms, so you're able to see. It gives you a little cone at the beginning of the game that will help you, yeah, to be able to see in the dark room. Otherwise, you're kind of wandering around in the darkness like I was. And if you're not familiar with those maps, it can end up really making it difficult for you. Okay. I'm gonna leave this way the regular way. Not because I need the item from the ledge, but because I do want to go visit the witch. We do have a mushroom that we can give her. So we're gonna do a quick bit of cleanup in the overworld before we go back into the dungeons. So we have the witch that we can go do. We have the back of escape, now that we have the gloves. That's still Hyrule Castle. We have Magic Bat has 3 checks. Normally only has 1, but because Pot Shuffle is on, there's 2 pots when you drop down into the Magic Bat area. Once you get the hammer, it basically unlocks, and that is something we had early access to. So I tend to try to go through all of the earlier checks before doing the later ones, just to try to see if I can keep myself on track for... Actually, I know we have the gold bee, but I'm going to remove it because, again, we don't necessarily know what we're going to be getting from under pots. So I'm going to be saving blue potion for either Ice Palace or Turtle Rock, depending upon if we need either. Well, we need Turtle Rock, but I don't necessarily know if we need Ice Palace yet. We'll save and quit, save us a little bit of time to go over to Sanctuary so we can check the back of Escape. Okay. So we're going to lift up this rock and then lift up this rock. And we're going to go back here. So there's 9 checks in the back here, and then 4 more in an area that was actually the first area of the game when I was learning Pot Shuffle that I didn't know existed. For pots, I had cleared a lot, and I had no idea where my item was. Of course, it was the one location in the game I had no idea there was actually pots. So, in here, there's 4 of them. Don't forget them, because they could have something like your Titan's Mitts or something funny in there. So, back of Escape is done. We're going back to Sanctuary again, and we're going to go over to the, what's it called? The Magic Bat. And then digging, we're gonna go dig up item in the flute location, and then we have one more overworld check in the Dark World before we have to go into Hyrule Castle. But I'm thinking we might go into Hyrule Castle first anyways, because I don't want to walk all the way over there, even though I have boots. So we have ourselves the hammer, which will allow us access into here. Because we're in 1.0 version of the game, if that guard sees us, it can come poke us while we're falling and can be really unfair. All right, nothing of value there, but there's a full magic, which is important to know. If we need an easy full magic refill in the light world, there is one here at Magic Bat under a pot. If it is an item that is like bombs or arrows or magic refill or heart recovery hearts kind of thing, those will always be under the pots. If I fall back down there, I would see a full magic again. However, if it is a item that I need for, let's say, the like if it's the fire rod, I'm not going to find that twice. I can't get 3 fire rods, although that would be pretty cool. Unless I, you know, increase the item pool, but it still wouldn't be at the same location. All right, so we're going to dig up the flute spot, which is, again, not necessary. So let's go to Hyrule Castle. All right, which we can go from my house. Did you have any questions about the game so far, Sky?
Yeah, there was actually a question earlier I wanted to cover. Besides the pot shuffle, what other settings are on? I know we've been focusing on the pot shuffle for a while, but what other settings do you think folks should take note of while you're playing?
Well, there was something at the beginning that I mentioned, open mode, which basically means that I skipped the initial like rescue Zelda sequence. So you'll notice whenever I save and quit to Sanctuary that Zelda is just casually sitting there with the priest in the I don't know, the room. And normally you'd have to go through the whole initial beginning sequence where you rescue her, it's raining, and everything else. In this particular one, in open mode, that starts already completed. So we can still come through here, we can still get all the items, but Zelda won't be here, and we won't have to go through the dark world. We won't have to go through the dark sewers and stuff while carrying her through. Trying to think what other settings are on. We have the dungeon items are shuffled within their own dungeons, so you will never have to, go hunting in the overworld or anywhere for keys for a specific dungeon. It's always going to be in that dungeon. I'm trying to think of any other settings that I really turned on, but honestly, it's mostly just Pot Shuffle. Pot Shuffle really carries this mode quite a bit. There's other cool settings that I like to turn on normally, that I mentioned before that I didn't, like Shop Shuffle. Shop Shuffle is really fun, where items in the shops are also included in the pool. Also, Bonk Shuffle is another one of my favorite ones that I didn't turn on this time, which all the items that you would bonk into trees to obtain, those are also shuffled into the pool, so you could pick up a pot and you could have a bunch of bees underneath it or other things like that. And oh, you know what, actually there is something now that I'm thinking about like what's weird to find under pots. There is actually there's actually 3 chickens underneath pots in the game, and we can find them in chests. You can find them under pots. They will often not look like chickens, but if you happen to see something odd jumping around the screen when I lift up a pot, it's probably gonna be the chicken. I think that I probably have to maybe kill the boss of Desert Palace. I cannot get this guy, so looks like we're gonna lose our spin speed or super speed. Maybe we'll get it again here. Nope, it's fine.
So if you were to be on here again, are there any settings that you would like to add in the future? Or another thing, what is on your wish list of settings that don't currently exist that you would like to exist for this game?
I think one of the, if there was a setting, I would like there to be different objectives. One of the other games that I play regularly is Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, and that is another rando, and it has objectives where you can, if you, let's say, want to complete the game by finding specific characters or other things like that, you can. Right now, I do know that there's some rando settings that allow for what is it called? Like ice rod hunt or other things like that. I don't necessarily know because I haven't played it specifically, but I do know that. Hang on, sorry. There we go. I do know that you can find basically an item and it completes the game. It would be cool to have a thing where you have to maybe find 4 specific items, get 4 specific numbered crystals or other things like that. I think that would be really cool. instead of necessarily just defeat Ganon and move on. Oops. I got hit by that character. But yeah, those are kind of like things that I would like to see. A lot of the stuff that you could think of has been added already. Anything, I guess the one thing that I've heard people suggest has been the grass shuffle, where you can shuffle items under each grass piece. I can't imagine that would be very easy to keep track of. Okay, I keep trying. There we go. I can't imagine that would be really easy to keep track of. So I don't know necessarily if it's on my wish list, but I'm very interested that it is something on other people's wish lists. I've messed up. But I saved it. All right.
Yeah,
that
nice.
is 3 crystals. Thank you. All right. I guess we're probably gonna have to go into the dark world. Right next to our place, or my place. No, I should go to... Honestly, I should go to Desert Palace, as much as I don't want to, because it's a pendant dungeon.
I just realized the original Link to the Past is like 32 years old. Oh no.
Only like slightly younger than I am.
What?
I said it's only slightly younger than I am.
Why? Every week we've been going through this thing where I'm like, wait, how old is this game? And then I end up having like this thought process that comes with it. Look at the chat.
I can't.
You know, why would I say that? Because it's a theme.
Oh, I guess that's something else that I didn't mention, is that I'm not playing as Link.
Yes.
I honestly, I play with this character so much that I just don't think about it. But yeah, no, I am definitely not playing as Link. I'm playing as a sprite called the Maple Queen. It is my sprite. It is made for me. It has headphones, white headphones, and blonde hair. Just like me. And was made a long time ago by Zarby, and somebody had also recolored Clifford's sprite and made it my bunny sprite, which is my doggo. Like recolored it to be Ruby, so it looks like my dog, who you cannot see on stream because she is not in here.
You know, speaking of your dog and your stream, what are you currently working on in stream? By the way, you all should follow Saku. Saku's got an awesome stream and also a really great puppy cam on the stream.
I'm mostly... I was doing a BizHawk shuffler for a long time, which you are obviously familiar with, but for those of the people in chat that maybe aren't, it's where the game shuffles at set intervals every few minutes. So I had it set to every 3 to 5 minutes. The game would shuffle between either, I think it was 40 different games to start, and we finished it yesterday. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, mostly I play randos. Like, that is my main thing. I used to say Zelda randos, but honestly, it's been more than just Zelda randos recently. Unfortunately didn't get the 1 cycle, but 2 cycle, not bad. Green pendant. We can hand the item into Sahashala. Last item is on the torch, which we know is not anything important.
I did a Mario shuffler at GDQ. I did all 5 actually. Any percent, no wrong warp, which that was an experience that Saku lived through. And poor Saku had to read the oven tweet from my community, and I felt
my god, I failed it so badly.
No, it was good. It was good. It was a great attempt. It was good.
I failed it so badly. It became a meme in my channel for a bit.
I should have warned you about that because I knew my community was gonna do that.
That's okay. Honestly, it was really funny.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I thought it was hilarious. So, yeah.
I remember saying that, like, as you were reading it.
When you in the food and out the hot or something, and I was like,
that's
wait,
close.
what?
See? That's a good effort. It's in the cold food, out hot, eat the food.
Yes, out hot, eat the food. I can never get that part correct. I've read that thing, I can't even tell you how many times since, and I literally have not once gotten it correct.
Well, you see, I had to know the oven tweet because that's part of me being in my relationship. See, I have to recite the oven tweet from memory every so often, so I get some practice.
Yeah, I'm terrible at like tongue twisters. I have on my stream, I have stream loops cards or something that people can use to affect things, and one of the things is tongue twisters, and so people ended up being like, haha, oven tweet, let's go. Sword can be found in a pot in Eastern Palace. Well, we've done Eastern Palace, so
there are like variations of that, and I'm glad my friends didn't try to throw the mega loop and do one of the other ones, because the oven one's the only one I can do. There's some pretty ridiculous ones out there.
Yeah, I'm glad it was the oven one as well. there are some
it gets
some
worse.
Yeah.
I wish I had one of the other ones handy, but I do not right now. If my friend was in chat, he'd be able to tell me, but if I ever get the other one, I'll let you know.
We have one more check before we have to go to I'm trying to remember where I found Fire Rod, and I'm pretty sure it was early in Thieves Town, which means I could have to do Skullwoods, which is gross because that's another pendant dungeon. And I'm trying to avoid pendant dungeons. But,
okay, I found it. Are you ready to hear this one?
Yes, I'm ready.
I hope I don't mess this one up. This one's rough. All right. Would you and your friend, if only, live one for $50,000, where the only but 2 nights ever, if won't be without it?
I don't think my brain registered half of that.
Maybe.
See, that's the thing. I'm trying to logic through it. Look, nah, there is no logic.
Oh, goodness. I don't get it either, if that makes sense. That's just another one that kind of goes around my friend circle in terms of memes.
All right. Hope there's an item here. I accidentally walked a little bit too close to the edge and fell off, but a lot of people have the common misconception that you need the hook shot to get through here, but you don't. Actually, one of the very first seeds that I did, the hook shot was on top of this ledge. All right. Well, doesn't look like we are getting it there. No. So into Skullwoods we go. Honestly, I should have just gone to Skullwoods. Skullwoods is always loaded every time that I play this game. No.
Yep. Here's another one.
Oh.
Has this is from the chat this time. Has anyone really been far as even decided to use even go want to do more look more like?
What?
I said, has anyone really been far even as decided to use even want to do look more like?
I think my brain has left the chat. Okay,
That's gonna be like my next shtick if I ever host an event, is people are gonna try to do these twisters. You got this, Saku.
Well, so there's a lot of pots still in here, and I'm hoping something is nice and gives me an item. Wow, we have all the medallions now. Which would be great if we had literally anything to use them on. But right now we don't. Because we're being bullied by the game. Still nothing.
There's so many cursed paragraphs now of time. I love the chat has evolved into something that I will take full responsibility for, but it's really funny. Sorry, Saku.
You're fine.
I mean, that's kind of like our shtick, though, right? Like, when I see that now, I think of when you read that for me. So it's like... Oh, goodness. All right, let's get past this boss fight first here.
Oh my goodness. So this boss is actually not really hard except for the spikes. Fun fact about this boss is that it's actually coded in the regular game to not take damage from the same damage class as the spikes. And so the damage class for spikes also is the gold sword damage. So if you were to come into the dungeon with gold sword originally, you would not be able to defeat that boss with that sword. You'd have to poke it to death because you would need to be able to do tempered sword damage values, which the rando has fixed by making it when you go into that room with the gold sword that it automatically reduces your stuff to the when you go in there with the gold sword, it automatically reduces the value of your sword damage to tempered sword damage. Unless you do spins with tempered sword, then you're doing gold sword damage, which is why spins never work on Mothula if you have the tempered sword. We have the flute. Oh my gosh, it was only literally the last location that it possibly could have been.
I mean, isn't that the way randos always work, though? It's always the last place you found it, technically.
So we also have, I guess by beating Skullwoods, we also have another red crystal. Oh wait, Skullwoods is a red crystal dungeon, not a pendant dungeon. I thought, I marked it wrong. Whoops. Well,
that's that. Yeah, that's me like every seed. Don't worry about that.
It is a good thing that I did it because I thought it was pendant. But I needed to beat the game, so.
You look like you're having a good time though, Saku, which is great. You know, it's not so cursed to the point where it's not fun. It's just a little bit of curse.
I love playing Pot Shuffle. I know like a lot of people don't want to do it because it's, you know, a lot of checks or whatever, but like to me I just really enjoy the chaos. So yeah. We're gonna grab 2 pots in here that are technically in logic. But the remainder isn't. We're gonna try to do Dark Rune, but it's kind of a little annoying because this one is annoying. Luckily, we have sword beams because those bats there can be a giant pain in the butt. There's still one more bat somewhere in here. Where are you? This is the wrong way. There's one more pot in this area. Come on. There you are. Oh, bam. All right. Dark room done. We're gonna avoid the other ones for now because they're annoying. We're going to again spin speed so that we can go up here, grab this item maybe. Nope. There's a hint tile there, but honestly, I don't really care enough about it to get it. But we do have the hook shot, which allows us to go over to this side of Death Mountain, which on its own normally has a lot of checks, but you know, this is pot shuffle, which means even more. Okay, get that one out of the way. So one of the other places that are often forgot about or not known about by new players is that play this is this cave here, which I literally cannot figure out why I can't hookshot over. There was no ledge there. But we got the both crystals 5 and 6. Palace of Darkness was crystal 6, I believe, and the other one, Skullwoods, was crystal 5. So we have the ability to do Pyramid Fairy should we need to. Hopefully not. So more pots here, still nothing. I'm looking for Ice Rod, please, game. And Titan's Mitts, preferably, which means if I get both of those, I'll be able to complete Turtle Rock. I suspect Lamp should be soon, though. Well, we can find it in Tower of Hera, though, which I think is a pendant. If the other two, no, it's a crystal. So Turtle Rock or Tower of Hera is something that we do need to do. Did I say Turtle Rock or did I say Tower of Hera? I don't even remember now.
Oh, you and me both. Like, my brain is all kinds of scrambled here.
So I'm gonna do bomb jump. I might mess it up. Nope. I was far enough back. I used the explosion of the bomb to push me across a ledge. And because I went across the pit, I didn't fall. Just a recovery heart up there. We're not gonna do the spiral cave and any of that stuff now. We can do it later. We are gonna have to make multiple trips up this mountain anyway, so might as well do it later. We also have the book. So, excuse you? Dead rocks? Dead rocks are the worst enemy in the game, honestly. They not very nice. Okay, so Tower of Hera next, which is another dungeon. It doesn't have as many pots at the beginning, but oh boy, does it have a lot of pots next to the end. It also has a whole lot of pots in the basement. So if you are familiar with the waiting room in here, then you'll be definitely seeing it during pot shuffle because there's about 5 or 6 checks down there. So we have Ice Rod can be found in a pot in Turtle Rock. See, those are good hints. Those are the hints we like to see. So I don't even have the small key. So we can actually find the Ice Rod inside of Turtle Rock. Most of the hints up until now have been kind of garbage. So I'm very glad we finally got something that was, you know, proven to be good. All right, big key used. And up here we go. I can't believe we actually got a good hint. Oh my god, and the mirror! Convenient. Now, if we could find Titan's mitts. Here's our small key for the basement. What would be nice would be some armor, though. We've been sitting at green mail for a long time, but we've actually been really lucky. I often find in Pot Shuffle, I don't get swords for a very long time just because the large amount of checks that there are in the game. Okay, South Dark World is a foolish choice. I often don't get swords for a very long time. I messed up, and now I'm going to be chased around by this guy for half a second. So I'm really happy, actually, that we got swords today, because more often than not, yeah, swords are just a luxury. For a long time. You know what? I debated doing it, but I don't want to. There's a little dash that you can do past the thingy, but I decided against it. I have the hiccups now all of a sudden. So I apologize in advance if you hear them. Alright, boss battle time. Also, my voice apparently is not working. Which, Moldarm is kind of a cakewalk, so... We have Tempered Sword, 2 spins, instantly defeated.
Yo, nice. How many, crystals is that?
That is... 5? I think we only have... no, it's... 4. Wait, I think I must have done something wrong. Because...
I'm not gonna...
4.
Yeah, what's up?
4.
4, okay.
Yeah. I have marked a pendant that... Or I've marked a crystal that is actually a pendant. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Desert Palace? No. 1, 2, 3... Weird. I have marked something wrong. I don't know which one it is. Was it Thieves Town? Was Thieves Town a pendant? I don't actually know.
All I have written down is the pot in Thieves Town. That's what I had before this.
I'm just trying to think. I'm like, what did I mark incorrectly? It doesn't matter, to be honest. I have most of the crystals. My big thing right now I need is Titan's mitts in order to beat this. We know that Ice Rod is going to be inside Turtle Rock. We still don't have Lamp because the game is a bully. But Titan's mitts are going to be massive for basically opening up the entire game. We can do Swamp Palace. But we have to do another loop here in order to get a couple more checks on Death Mountain. So there is what's known as Fairy Ascension in the tracker community. I just call it the Turtle Rock Fairy Room because it is literally just where you would get fairies in Turtle Rock. If you mirror out from the Dark World into here, there is actually this cave, which is a fairy cave. You can get to, this is, every dungeon basically has a fairy location, and this is the one for Turtle Rock. So we're gonna grab that, we're gonna drop down here, and hopefully we find ourselves Titan's mitts. No, instead we find ourselves the lamp.
I mean, you gotta be happy to find that, though, right? Like, you don't want to be doing those rooms anymore like that.
Honestly, yeah, Misery Mire is kind of scary. I don't really care about Turtle Rock, but Misery Mire dark rooms, when you may need to be hunting for a key in the dark, is not fun. So I'm going to grab nothing because I can't get past the dead rock. There we go. So we're gonna go over here. There's a whole lot of checks in here. Whoa. Please, Titan's Mitts. Or Red Cane. Honestly, Red Cane would be really nice too. Hello? This guy just blocking the door casually, preventing my escape. So we have, let's see. We'll save the old man, grab the one item that's in here, and then we've basically done a bunch of this. We'll do one more check on the mountain, and then we're gonna go into Swamp Palace. Swamp Palace is another crystal. Oh no, Swamp Palace actually must be our pendant, now that I think about it. Because, or no, it can't be our pendant. Why do I have Swamp Palace marked down as a crystal then? I have done some incorrect marking here. I don't know what happened. Okay. Got the old man, saved him. So normally you would kind of not really worry too much if you have a dungeon to do. You wouldn't really worry about Spike Cave. Sorry, I just did a little bit of tech called pumping there, which I'll explain in a second. But normally you wouldn't worry too much about Spike Cave because you have one check here. That's a chest. The thing about hello, come back. The thing about Spike Cave, however, is that it's got like 8 pots in it. So there is 9 checks in this spot. So it is very valuable to grab. So we're gonna do that. We have Blue Cane, which puts this in logic. Because one-hit KO exists, this cave always requires you to have some sort of invincibility item for it to be in logic. So because we got Blue Cane a while ago, that put this cane in this cave in logic. Unfortunately, nothing of value. We also skipped a whole lot in Tower Para. We skipped the whole basement, but I'm hoping that it's fine because again, we're trying to save time. So we have not too much left. Thankfully.
Zaku, I'm not sure how to read that thankfully. Is that like, I'm so over this seed, or, oh my gosh, there's so many checks and I'm relieved that maybe we're seeing the end of this?
No, more so that I don't want to go over time because I'm...
Gotcha.
Why does it say that this is a red crystal? When I have both red crystals, it says. Wait, was Pod my pendant? Was that what it was? Pod was my pendant. That's why. Okay. Okay, Pod was a pendant, not a crystal. I double-clicked instead of hello? Instead of triple-clicked on my tracker. I see where everything's gone wrong. That's fine.
Again, Saku, you are not the first person to do something like that, and certainly you will not be the last on this. No big deal.
So, that thing that we just did there was block erase clip. It actually works because in the game, it's either 3 or 4 3 or 4 sprite sheets and one tile sheet or something like that. Something in reverse of that or whatever. Basically what's happening is the game is moving that tile from the tile sheet to a sprite sheet. What the mirror does is it stops all sprite animations so that it can teleport you to the beginning of the dungeon. Or teleport you to the light world. So one of its side effects of using the mirror is that it halts sprite animations. In a dungeon, that will just bring you back to the beginning of the dungeon. But in the overworld, it is only doing its sprite stopping. And so what happens is the tile never actually reaches the destination on the tile sheet and thus is deleted from existence. So you're moving the tile from one spot to another on the tile sheet by changing it over to the sprite sheet, and thus, because it never reaches its destination, it never actually becomes a complete item on the tile sheet, thus disappears. So, yeah. I also mentioned that I was doing a thing earlier called pumping. You may have noticed I was doing the thing that I mentioned earlier, spin speed, where I was setting up a super speed glitch, and what I do when I'm moving up and downstairs is it kind of slows you down a little bit when you're walking downstairs. But if you move side to side, you move a couple frames faster. It might be 1 frame faster, but you move slightly faster if you pump your movement directional buttons right and left as you're walking upstairs. So it helped me move slightly faster up the stairs than it normally would. Just wanted to wait for that guy. Get rid of that. There's a few pots in here. We're still looking for Cane Samaria. I actually don't need that. Okay. Hit this. Oh, heck. I hit it a little bit too late and the spike got caught in the wrong spot of it. There we go. Okay, so we did get the big key. I just want to check. Actually, I'll check that after. I have enough small keys. It's not really a big deal. I'm hitting the switch there in order to collect a few things later in the dungeon. But at the moment, still just casually looking for our red cane and our Titan's mitts. The good thing about Titan's mitts being one of the last things is it stops a lot of locations from being caught, you know, as something we have to do right away. So hopefully we find it soon. It stops a lot of the Titan's mitts not being something that's available right now, or not in my inventory right now, means that a lot of the other checks that are kind of nasty, out of the way checks are not something that I'm going to need to check. So hopefully I can find the cane of Samaria before I find the Titan's mitts, is more so what I'm saying.
So Saku, just out of curiosity, you mentioned doing other randomizers. What else have you been doing besides Link to the Past randomizer?
Oh, goodness. For randomizers,
Yeah.
I've been learning Metroid Fusion Rando. I've been learning Symphony of the Night Rando. I've done A Link to the Past. I've done Oracles of Seasons Rando, Oracle of Ages Rando, Link's Awakening Rando, Majora's Mask, Super Metroid Rando, SMZ3 Rando, which is Super Metroid and A Link to the Past combo Rando, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker Rando. If there is a Zelda Rando that's not Zelda 1 or 2, I've done it. And I have no problem with Zelda 1 or 2. My problem is lack of skill. Which is why I don't end up doing it.
I disagree. I think you have a lot of skill that you've especially showcased today, Saku. You're great. I agree, chat. Saku's great. Please go give her a follow. That's twitch.tv/Sakura Tsubasa. Yeah, don't discredit yourself, Saku. You're quite good. And if you're ever in doubt, that just means, you know, a little more practice and it's all. But I disagree. I think you're awesome as is. But, you know, a lot of folks ask me, they're like, should I complete the vanilla game before the rando? And the answer to that is it does vary, right? For some games, it really does help to complete the vanilla game at least once. And other games, you can just play the rando and never play the vanilla version. So, again, results may vary there, but if you ever have any kind of doubt as to whether or not you should play a randomizer, do it anyways. Have a great time, you know?
That is actually funny that you mentioned that. I actually played A Link to the Past randomizer before I played A Link to the Past. I find that games that have more resources available are like you're able to play randos first. Like Link to the Past has so many resources available for it, the rando, that I say it is fine to play it either way. But there's other games like some of the Game Boy Zelda games that don't have a lot of resources that would be really challenging if you're not familiar with the game and what you're expected to do. Okay, we have another boss, and hopefully this boss cooperates nicely. There's only one check left in this dungeon. So this guy's got a few of these little puff balls you have to remove. We're going to remove them, and then we're going to set up and hopefully not mess this up, but I'm very nervous and I feel like I'm going to mess it up. But I didn't. Wow.
I was just about to say, we believe. See? We believe, Saku. That was incredible. This is why I cannot allow you, Seth, to even remotely say I'm not good at that or something like that. Because, again, I will. You didn't say it, but I'll disagree. That was a fantastic boss fight, Saku. What a gamer.
Well, thank you. We did get a whole lot of stuff unlocked because of the mirror. Conveniently, we have the boots, which helps us, you know, to travel around. So there are a few places out of the way. There is, of course, the graveyard ledge, which is kind of annoying to get to, but also the King's Tomb is over there, which you normally need the Titan's Mitts in order to do, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the mirror instead. But yeah, I feel like I am a testament to you can play the rando first if you would like to. But yeah, resources and the community being helpful is another thing. I wouldn't have been able to play it first without members of the community helping the first time. And I feel like especially the Link to the Past community are very helpful with trying, if somebody has questions, like getting the answers to you.
Well, speaking of the community, because I know you probably have a lot to say on this because you've been in the community for a while, do you have any shout outs for folks that maybe have helped you out with the randomizer or getting started or just period with your stream? Feel free to have any shout outs here.
Oh my gosh. I have so many shout outs. We'd be here for 20 minutes. Just yeah, there's a lot of people that have helped. Shout outs to first of all Sky for letting me join her show here. And always believing in me.
Always.
I very much appreciate it. We also have a lot of wonderful members of the rando community that have stuck up for me in a lot of difficult situations. All the mods have helped out a ton. All the moderators, all the Codeman made the tracker that I use. The tracker pack. Emo, who made the physical tracker. There's my mods themselves who, keep me sane on a daily basis. Which is probably a task on its own, to be honest. And are always there when I need. Like I said, there are so many people. I could be here, and the other problem is I have a really bad memory, and I'm gonna end up forgetting somebody because I can't even remember who I've already shouted out. So I'm gonna end up forgetting somebody, but yeah. I have a lot of people that I appreciate, and all of my community members who are always there for me and supporting me and here cheering me on today. I see you. I see you in the chat. But yeah. I don't think I ended up saving. When I saved the old man, I think I skipped a pot. Now that I'm remembering, I'm like, wait a second. But yeah, like I said, there's so many people. The Ocarina of Time devs who let me make their update videos. The Link to the Past devs who let me make their update videos. Yeah, there's a lot.
I see a lot of your emotes in chat, by the way, supporting you, Saku. So that's very sweet of your community to come and visit. We appreciate y'all.
They're amazing. I literally have the best community. I cannot even begin to describe how wonderful they are. We are finally going into the sewers after a billion years. What feels like a billion years. So normally I would not worry about torches, but in Pot Shuffle it helps to make sure you don't miss anything. Just lighting things up to make sure that you're not skipping any pots, because it can be a little bit butts if you forget one and then don't remember which one it is. There's more in here. Not many, but there's 10 more pots. A lot of them aren't in this room. They're in this other room that's right past here.
Do we have time real quick for just a couple GDQ blurbs, announcements, etc.? All right, I did want to remind you all that your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits shared on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick Hotfix. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the daily speedrunning content. And also, the SGDQ 2023 schedule is now out. Go to GamesDoneQuick.com or use !SGDQ in chat for more info. It's exciting. A lot of neat stuff there on the schedule.
I think I broke the item tracker for the dungeon.
Oh.
Because I've been picking up items and it has not been actually tracking them, but I know that I got all of the items in the dungeon. So, I mean, it's fine for me, but like, how is it that every time I play a game, I break it somehow? It wouldn't be, this has never happened before.
Oh, you said the thing!
I said the thing!
You said the thing! Oh, no. Well, it's a complete show now, everyone.
Yeah, complete show.
Oh, goodness, Saku.
Honestly, I have no idea what happened. I've never had it actually, like genuinely, I've never had the item tracker just stop working halfway through the dungeon.
I think a lot of us, like, around here and in this community have broken pretty much everything. We're good at breaking video games.
It's so true, though. But that's half the fun. I don't know. I really enjoy glitches, like, just in general. I know that there's different categories for a lot of games and stuff, but I really do think that the glitch ones are some of my favorite to run, just because, like, some of the crazy things you can do in games is just so fun. I used to run Final Fantasy VII, PC any percent, which, if anybody has seen that, is a big bunch of glitches. So it, actually, I think I ran that on Frost Fatales like 3-4 years ago. It was a long time ago, but
was it really that long ago already? Wow.
Yeah. But it is, if you want to see a really cool game run, that when I was running it, the you could complete that game in, I believe it was, you couldn't get less than I think it was like 3.5 at the time. But now it's down to 2.5. They found another bunch of glitches that make it really cool. So, all right, we have two options here, and neither of them are great. But we have Pyramid Fairy and we have Aga Tower. And now that we have the lamp, that means we are going to Aga Tower. Because Pyramid Fairy is 2 checks, but Aga Tower is a lot. You'll see in a second. Hopefully this one doesn't break, because I don't want to miss any checks in here. Alright, in we go. So you'll see a lot of, there's 27 checks in this dungeon. We're gonna hit these guys twice. Honestly, probably could have done that faster. But we're gonna kill both of those, grab this. We're gonna go to the right, and then we're going to, we lined ourselves up with a chest so that we were able to do a nice key dash there. So normally if you dash into a door that's locked, it would, you would bonk against the door frame. Or not the door frame, you'd bonk against the door. But in this instance, we lined ourselves up in a way that allowed us to go through the door without doing that. There's our small key. So one of the other cool, what are they called? Settings, I guess, in this game is drop shuffle that I do not have enabled, but the items that are dropped from enemies, those can also be shuffled as well. So there are some enemies in this dungeon that have a small key as their item drop, and you can actually turn those on to be shuffled as well. But I particularly like leaving those on when I do pot shuffle, so that I know, like, I'm always guaranteed specific keys in case I make a mistake and, you know, things get out of hand. But yeah, I don't know. I really love pot shuffle. There's also about 100-ish checks in Ganon's castle. And those are not going to be something that we're probably going to be seeing based on, oh my god, based on the items we have right now. So thankfully, you can take about 100 checks off of that total that we have at the moment. So we have 667 checks done out of 1,018. The big chest in GT is a heart, which is fine because we're not probably going into GT. In order to, like, require GT, I would have needed a sword or something to be in there that I already have. So not really a big deal. We could find silvers in there, but I don't particularly care about those either. We have a glitch we can do, or not glitch, but a technique called silverless. There's our Titan's mitts. Well, that's gross. That means our Cane of Samaria can be inside of Misery Mire and other miscellaneous things. So we don't actually need to do anything with Aga, so I'm going to mirror out because I don't want to fight him. It's a waste of time at the moment, and we have things to do. Like find the Cane of Samaria. So Misery Mire, let's go check this area. You know, Misery Mire is one of those places where I often, if there's an item I need for Misery Mire and I don't have it, and I have the ability to go over here, I often check here because more often than not, I'll find it in this area. Of course, because I say that, I will not find it because the game will spite me. Alright, there is more checks over here. This is single check. I did not mirror close enough. No, I managed. Well, that wasn't what I needed at all. Alright, and we have more in here. I think this one has 8 checks. Or 6? 6 or 8. There is a decent amount in here. Alright, we're gonna go do some fast things quickly first. Up on Death Mountain, we're going to come back down. Once we have the Cane of Samaria, it's just very, very quick. Knocking out 2 dungeons and killing the boss. So let's quickly see if we can find our red cane. There's a lot of checks up here. And then we could go into Misery Mire. We could get stuck by cabbages so that we can't dash. Alright, thank you. Alright, come up here. It doesn't really matter what the entrance medallions are for for Misery Mire or Turtle Rock, because at this point we've got them all, so not really necessary to find that out right now. There's a shop on one of these caves. It is the one on the right. If you ever need to do shop shuffle, that is a good place to go. We're gonna do again, it's the same thing with the block erase. We're going to use the block transitioning from the tile layer to the sprite layer in order to clip through it using the hook shot, and then grab these items, which are literally nothing. Listen, Ganon doesn't like to eat his veggies, so he throws all the cabbages down the mountain, and that's why you're saving Hyrule. Definitely because of cabbages. It's not actually, I just like to make that up. So this is a cool room. You can actually clear this room in one go. Hopefully I do it correctly. Because there is this one enemy who likes to knock me off the edge every time. And if it does, it is a bit of an inconvenience to do it again. All right, so. It's not that enemy. All right, so we're gonna pick that up. We're gonna pick that up. We're gonna pick that up. We're going to grab this. We're gonna pick this up. We're gonna knock that guy off so he doesn't knock us off. We're gonna hit that. We're gonna grab this. Grab this. Grab this. Grab this. That's everything from this dungeon, or from this cave. All at once. Okay, so we don't need the item that is on the ledge there. So what we're gonna do is we're going to mirror, we're going to flute away, and do something else. Now that we have Titan's Mitts, we can do this entrance to Dark World here nicely. So we have a couple things we can do in the overworld. We can do Pyramid Fairy. We can do saving the blacksmith and unlocking the purple chest. And then it's Ice Palace, Misery Mire, and Turtle Rock at that point.
So how far are we from go mode for folks who are just coming in and seeing the end of this?
We are one item. Sorry, I was looking at my tracker.
No, you're good. You're good.
So I stood there running into the wall. Yeah, we're one item away. We know that we are technically 2 items away, but the second item that we need, we already know where it is. So what we call that when we have everything that we need and we know where the last item is that we don't have, we call that no mode. So we are very close to go mode and even closer to no mode. Like KNOW.
I getcha.
But, oops, I needed to go into the Dark World. Okay, we don't really, actually, I should do hammer pegs while I'm here so I don't have to do that later. There's a few checks in here, which could be nice, actually. Hammer pegs has, I believe, 5 checks inside. Oops. this is slow because I have the purple chest. I should have just left it behind. Red cane! Ah! Also, ignore the fact that that's just changed into a blue cane. That is a sprite thing, and it's done. All right, that means we don't need this purple chest anymore. Bye, purple chest. Say goodbye to purple chest, because we won't be seeing it ever again. All right, now we need big keys for Misery Mire, which means I just need to find them in the dungeon. So we are actually now in no mode, which means once we get the ice rod, we'll be done. We'll be in go mode. I mean, once we get the ice rod, we're gonna basically have the ability to complete the seed. Bird toss. So we don't unfortunately have the full hearts, which means we can't make this next room a little nice. So we're going to do this slowly. I actually want to see if I can get double heart refill. Nope, only one. If you hookshot a recovery heart at the right time, you'll actually end up getting 2 for the price of 1. So Misery Mire has 47 checks. A lot of them are in Fish Room. If you do the rando, the original rando, you normally won't see Fish Room unless you went the wrong way, or you're doing a door shuffle. But what we're gonna be looking for, hopefully, is a big key in the first room here. So we want the big key to be in this room so that we can quickly go to the back. We're gonna stand on spikes and apparently not pick up the chest. There we go. Unfortunately, we did not get the thing that we wanted from here, which kind of sucks. But that's okay. We have a few other things that we can do instead. So we are a little bit low on health, so I'm again gonna stop and grab health. Okay, definitely stopping to grab health now. Because I don't want to have to go through that entrance room again. We're gonna grab health there, and then we're also gonna grab health down here. So this one, we needed that small key that we got earlier. And we're gonna use the hook shot because I don't want to activate the that little fire beam thing will shoot at you if you happen to swing your sword. So we don't want that. So instead, we're just going to not use our sword at all. We have a small key that we got from the enemy that was in that room, the jellyfish. And we're going to use the fire rod to go through here. Hopefully get a small key or a big key. And we didn't get either, so we're going down. So again, this is a place where you would normally get a full magic refill, but because pot shuffle, you're not guaranteed one. At least we got a small one, which is nice. So again, we're going to be doing, we're moving these blocks, and we're using the fire rod to send it through the moving blocks. And going into the back here. Looking for this big key. This is the vanilla big key location. When we say vanilla location, we often mean the location of it in the original game. So where you would, in the regular game, you would often find that big key there. By often, I mean always. But yeah. So we're going to hug that wall and find a small key here, which will lead us into here, which is the fish room. Why is it called the fish room? Well, because it looks like a fish. Doesn't look like a fish down here, but it does at the top. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh. I don't want to get bunny beamed. There's our big key. Perfect. And because we're in here, we might as well just see if this has silver arrows. Nope. Actually, I think we want this down. For now. So we know that the ice rod is in Turtle Rock, so we're gonna go grab that in a minute. We're gonna get hit by this. Yep. Tried to avoid it, but it's no big deal. We can just powder a fairy in another room. Hang on a second. Went the wrong way. Go this way, and then to the left. Tried to powder it again, and it didn't work. So, because I missed. In Pot Shuffle, these anti-fairies can be kind of not fun, so I like to powder them while they're still under the pots, so that I don't have to worry about them ever again. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for full magic. Do I need it? Not really, but it is helpful. That way I don't have to use my bottle. I would like to save my bottle for Turtle Rock. Plus also there's silvers that exist. So we could get super lucky and get silver arrows, or we could get gold sword, which is also something that we can use in order to make our last fight of the game easier. So again, that is a check because it is a big rock. Still nothing good. So this should be blue, which means we need to hit it. So it's yellow or red, whatever color. It's a color that is not blue. This wall is very weird. It looks like a bonkable wall, but it's not. It's bombable. Actually, no, it doesn't even look like it's bonkable. That wall is not bonkable. Fun fact. I say that every time that I play this game, because somebody once told me it was while I was commentating, and it was wrong.
I really love the way the armor makes this look like it has like kind of a Samus feel, right, with that blue.
Yes, I really like it. I love the blue and pink. The headphones changed to pink as well. Actually, I am going to do this the fast way because I just realized I have blue mail.
I should have given a warning before, but please be careful on these flashes here, chat. Again, content warning here for flashing.
Yeah. I think this one, well, depending upon what the medallion is for Turtle Rock. I don't know why I'm doing this when I have the bow. I forgot that I had the bow because I did the spins instead. Misery Mire's done. One more dungeon, Turtle Rock, and then we're done. Well, and then we have to beat the final boss, but yeah.
So I have a question, because it's been a little while since I've seen this randomizer. Once you're done with Turtle Rock, can you go directly to Ganon, or do you have to go through Ganon's Tower, Aghanim, etc.?
So if you did defeat Ganon as your goal, then you would have to do Ganon's Tower. And you don't need to do Aga Tower. Aga Tower is only required if you're doing all dungeons. And we are not. We are also not doing Defeat Ganon. We're doing a different setting called Fast Ganon. What Fast Ganon means is that the pyramid is already open. The problem is Ganon is currently invincible? I think that's actually the same word. But I can't kill him because I don't have enough crystals. You can get to phase 4 of the fight and then Ganon will say, hey, you haven't completed your goals, you goof. And you have to leave because he literally will not be killable. So, alright, it's phase 4. Phase 3? Phase 3 of the fight, actually, not even phase 4. So, we don't have to do Ganon's Tower. I didn't know how long the seed would take, so I did Fast Ganon, because sometimes Ganon's Tower can be a long process, depending upon where the keys are in Pot Shuffle, because there's, like I said, 100 and some odd checks in that dungeon. I mean, I can, when I defeat Turtle Rock, I can dip in there just to see how many checks there are, because Ganon will take like 5 seconds. Well, I say 5 seconds, but it's more like a minute, because we don't have silver arrows, so we actually have to do spins. Wow, convenient. So we have this blue potion that we've been holding on to for about 50 years now. The reason that we got it a long time ago was because we don't know if we're gonna get magic before the final boss, and or for the boss of this dungeon. And this dungeon in particular has a very hard magic requirement. Like it's hard required. You can't do any kind of like glitches in order to get out of it. You will have to do it. So we're looking for some small keys. We need a bunch, and a lot of them can be under pots. We also need big keys, which we have. We also need to find the ice rod, which is in here. We got a hint for that earlier. Because we saw a hint that said the ice rod was under a pot, I think in Turtle Rock. So until we find the ice rod, we're gonna have to be checking all of the pots just to make sure. So we're gonna hit these, and then we're gonna hook shot off of this so that we can very quickly go in this door before it shuts behind us. Not anything useful. So we're gonna mirror out, because no matter what we're gonna do, we're gonna have to use the arcane again a couple times. So might as well just do it by going back here and not having to worry about the spikes. So normally you'd go to the left here, but unfortunately there is one really annoying pot that is in this room, which we're gonna casually sit here and wait for these tiles to go away, because there's nothing else we can do. The problem is this can have a small key, or it could have had the big key, but we found the big key already. But it can have a small key, which may be required in order to get through the rest of the dungeon. So we do want to make sure that we don't miss any. Or it could have, the ice rod. So yeah. Small key. Would you look at that?
You don't say.
So I'm very glad we went through that. If we skipped that, we would have to come back. later when we inevitably needed it. We'll grab that small key. This guy's gonna be nice and let us actually take that without damaging us, which is really nice. There's a lot of pots in this room. So we're gonna grab these. We'll find more small keys. We got one, which is okay. Still more that we can find, but we have checked 775 checks already, which is quite a few. How long have we been going? Like,
we're at about 2.5 hours right now. But we're in. Oh, look at that doggy!
yeah.
Is that supposed to be Ruby?
Yeah.
Aww.
It's the Clifford sprite. There's a Clifford the Big Red Dog sprite that somebody recolored. So it's Plagued One's emote that they made recolored for a Ruby skin. So I definitely want to give credit to Plagued One who did make that originally.
It's so cute.
So you might have been like, oh man, you skipped all those pots. But it's okay, because we had to come back. And thankfully it had full magic, which is nice. Yo, there's our ice rod. Now we're just looking for small keys.
Oh, is that a Ruby emote I see? Oh. That's a cute emote.
Oh. Yeah, when we got the ability to add bit emotes, I was like, well, I'm gonna make all of these Ruby emotes. And they are super cute. So if we are facing downwards, the middle and the eyes that are at the top, they will. If you see the top row of eyes, how they're like kind of a little closed, they are only activated if you look at them. So because we were looking away constantly, they won't shoot at us. The other two, on the other hand, will open if you're within proximity of them. So we unfortunately angered some of them. I think we still need one small key because we used one on the door. So I'm still, well, there we go. And silvers. All right. Darn. I was like, can we get the gold sword? Because that would literally be the best. Wow, this fight with Ganon is going to be a joke.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Okay, we're gonna go down here. Open this. We're gonna go straight to the boss. There's a lot of pots along the way, but we're gonna skip them because we don't need them. We also have a lot of magic, so we don't need the blue potion either. We got really unlucky for a long time about where some of these items were. But I still think that we did really well, all things considered. So we basically did like half the checks for this dungeon. Can we get lucky? Gold sword? Nope. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we're gonna start with the Trinix has 3 heads, which is, well, I guess 3 necks. We're going to hit this one first because it comes out first. And we're going to menu now before we defeat the red one, or the red one, because while the explosions are happening, you can't actually menu. So we swap before that happens so that we can immediately start attacking the ice head, because the ice head can put a bunch of yuckies on the ground, and I didn't want to deal with them. So
nice fight.
Thank you. All right, now it's Ganon time. Super fast Ganon fight. I say that, I'm gonna mess it up because I said that.
Oh, you're not. You're gonna be awesome. Don't worry about that.
All right, so normally you'd have to go now, defeat GT, Ganon's Tower, and then defeat Ganon. But because this is fast Ganon, the pyramid is already open. So there's a bunch of different goals that you can set for the randomizer. Things like I mentioned earlier, all dungeons, also 1337 rupees. I have right now. Yeah, goals. Defeat Ganon, which is where you have to defeat Ganon, go through Ganon's Tower, and defeat Aghanim at the top of the tower, have 7 crystals, blah, blah, blah. There is all dungeons, where you have to do all dungeons, including Aga Tower and Ganon's Tower. There is Triforce pieces, where you can do an item hunt. Basically, you have to collect a specific amount of Triforce pieces. There is Fast Ganon, where you can just get the item requirements to defeat Ganon, whatever those are, and defeat Ganon without having to do Ganon's Tower. And Trinity, I think, is a new one, where you can get one of 3 of those objectives. Okay. Immediately walk into Ganon. I messed up. Hopefully I can get... No, I'm not even going to get pity corner for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Heck. 7, 8. I need to do that twice because I did not get the nice corner. 9, 10, 11, 12. And 1 for good measure. I'm actually going to use my blue potion here because I don't want to die. So we have to hit Ganon 12 times in the first phase, 12 times in the second phase, 4 times in the third phase. So this is third phase right now. But he's gonna run away like a goof constantly because he doesn't want to get defeated. We have 1 more hit after this. We have silvers, so we don't need to do torch glitch because we have silvers. Because he's a little... Oh, well, never mind. Because I missed. He is going to be mean. So we need to hit him once here. Okay. We got... He's going to go in the middle here, which is nice. We can get 2 hits on him if I line up correctly. Once he hits the wall, once Ganon hits the wall, he will immediately teleport. So the reason why sometimes you can get 1 hit on him and sometimes you can get multiple is depending upon how far away from the wall he is. Because the second he touches the edge, he will teleport away. And time will be when we walk through the door. And time.
All right, Gigi. 241.08 is what I'm hearing. And Saku, thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. I am very glad I didn't go too much overtime.
Oh, you were... Considering the amount of checks you had, over 1,000 checks, that was fantastic. You really just zoomed through that scene, given everything.
I am pretty happy that I got it done though in that time. I really enjoy Pot Shuffle. It's one of my favorite modes. It adds a lot of checks, but a lot of them, like I said, you saw, are basically along the way. You have to learn a little bit of different routing in dungeons to make sure that you get everything, but it's still, a very reasonable amount of time that you can complete it in. But yeah.
Well, I do want to remind folks again to please give Saku a follow. That is at twitch.tv/Sakura Tsubasa. Very much worthy of that follow. What a terrific performance here, Saku. And I want to say thank you to being on here. I really enjoyed having you on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I was glad that I got to show this off. I don't know if it's been on a GDQ before, Pot Shuffle, or a hotfix before, so being able to show it off is really fabulous. And thank you for inviting me. Like I said, shout outs to the Links of Past community for creating it, to Emo who made the tracker that I use, to Codeman for making the tracker pack that I use for that tracker, and all of the wonderful community, all of my wonderful community for being amazing. My mods that helped me beforehand, that when I was really nervous were hyping me up and all that stuff. And yeah, thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I like the game a lot, and I play a lot of randos, so if you like randos,
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Saku. So real quick, if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, hello and thank you for checking us out. Be sure to press the like button on this video to subscribe to the channel. Also go to twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick if you're interested in looking at our live content starting weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then our broadcast for tonight is not over here on GDQ Hotfix. Coming up next is Aimbot. Stay tuned for it after the break. Take it away, Amy.